Today, we become legends.
Hey, my name's Inter, welcome back to the channel, and today we have 11.4 update notes to go over. There's going to be quite a lot changing in this patch. There's some more spicy changes coming. There's also some big updates to Conquest, a few updates to Assault as well, new skins, all that good stuff, so let's just jump right in. So first up, not a Smite related thing, but a Smite 2 related thing. They have officially announced that the Founders Packs will be available for purchase Monday, April 15th, so that is this coming Monday, and they will guarantee access to the closed alpha test weekends this May, so that's confirmed that next month we're going to be able to publicly test the game. Will be closed alpha, so I imagine they'll probably be giving out some codes to people that applied via the website, but they'll also have guaranteed access if you buy a Smite 2 Founders Pack. So those are coming. You'll be able to buy those Monday, April 15th. We've got some new skins, some funny ones in the like Gentleman line, Nurse Nightmare is an army, Phantom Sees Poseidon, Trash Goblin at Scylla as well. But moving into balance changes for 11.4, so first up, seemingly across all game modes, they have adjusted the kill rewards from low-level players killing high-level players. So this is going from, I assume this means 30% bonus on top of what you would normally get to only a 20% bonus instead. So this is basically, the long and short of this is anti-snowballing nerf. You're not going to be able to just like shut down a high-level player and instantly get yourself completely back into the game. You'll still get a lot of bonus, but you're not going to get quite as much as you were getting before. For Conquest, they are adding the Bull Demon King to Conquest. It's going to function differently than it does in Joust, so don't worry, the Bull Demon King's not going to be disabling your towers in Conquest. That's not how it's going to work. He's going to spawn in the FG pit from 2 minutes in until 15 minutes in, so he's intended to be sort of an early game objective, almost similar to like the Fire Imps, for example, that we had way back in Season 3, where they sort of spawn in place of the Fire Giant until FG spawns. This does also mean that FG has been moved up to 15 minutes in the match instead of 10 minutes. This will not affect 99.5% of games. Like the vast majority of games, you're not even trying or thinking about trying to pull FG before 15 minutes anyway. Occasionally you would, but really this probably isn't going to impact too much. It just gives the BDK a bit more time to be active on the map. Killing the BDK awards Global Gold, Global XP, and also a team-wide buff Bull Demon's Sight for 60 seconds, which allows you to see enemy wards, like see and take enemy wards, as if you had Seer of the Jungle effect. 2-minute cooldown on him respawning. Jungle starter items do work against him, so you can, for example, get like big Bomber Spear value, although I guess you probably wouldn't have a full Bomber Spear. So this is mainly for like the level 1 jungle starters that do the bonus damage to him. They did say further up here somewhere, yeah, this objective is intended to be soloable by junglers, but over a long period, so you might have to spend a while there kind of getting him slowly burned down, but it is intended to potentially be soloable by junglers, but will be much more effectively done if split between 2 or 3 players. It is going to be on the solo side of the map, so you know, you could see, for example, the mid 3v3 doing this. You could see like mid support and jungle fighting over this, or maybe you'll see a bit more of like jungle and solo will fight over this. Solo laners at the moment do have a lot to do in their lane though, so I think it might honestly be more likely that like jungle and support or jungle support and mid will end up doing this. Solo laners actually do not have a lot of downtime in their lane at the moment unless you're clearing super fast. There's a lot to do in solo. You know, you got your own blue, you got your ways to handle, you got Naga camp, you got totem, you got silver buff. You've got a lot to do in solo, so I imagine solos won't have a whole lot of time to do this. But, you know, maybe if you do have some downtime in the solo lane, you can group up with your jungler and take BDK. For Gold Fury, they have just nerfed the debuffs that you get from the Gold Fury doing its, like, channel attack on you from 5% to 4% per stack. I like this change. The amount of slow that this provides is absolutely ridiculous. Like, if you were tanking up gold, if the enemy tries to get on you after the fact, there is no shot you're escaping. Like, you're so slow, it's ridiculous. There's also no shot you're chasing them out if they try and, like, come in and steal or anything. Obviously, this only applies to the person tanking it, but yeah, it was a little bit ridiculous, the amount of debuffs that it gave you. Mid-harpies, they have just reduced the physical power on them by a little bit. This makes sense. Mid-harpies, they can absolutely destroy you if you're not ready for it in the early game, and some characters get absolutely wrecked by them and pretty much can't solo mid-harpies. The Nagas, they have increased the base gold and XP of them a little bit as well, so that's cool. Shield buff, they have decreased it though, and shield buff small guards have been removed, leaving only the Scorpion. And of course, like silver, gold will now have the same amount of like base XP and gold, and it's going to be basically an identical camp other than the buff it drops now. And yeah, in line with the shield buff change, they've also done the same thing to silver buff as well, but now it grants additional effect. Every 5 seconds, subtract 0.5 seconds from all of your abilities currently on cooldown. Holy crap, dude. Silver's already a broken buff in my opinion. Like, does it really need this? Like, silver, I think, either starts at 10 and goes to 20, or it starts at 5 and goes to 20. I'm not entirely sure, but like, at some point, that should get to 20% cooldown reduction, like, pretty early on in the game. And then you're also going to get, like, a mini horn shard effect every 5 seconds. I like it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to play with. You know, you're going to, if you have that silver buff, you're going to be able to make a lot more plays. It's almost like you have a mini horn shard. But goddamn, silver is going to be heavily contested in the solo lane now, 100%. That buff was already insanely good to take. The invade penalty, they have also reduced the base invade penalty from 75 to 70. Note this penalty does linearly scale down to 0 0% by 10 minutes. So after 10 minutes, invades are worth the exact same as your own camps. But in the early game, they have just reduced that a little bit. Obviously, you're still not invading level 1. Smite has completely shut down that idea with the Invader's Curse. It's pretty much impossible, other than like randomly coming in and like pinging someone's buff like as they pull blue to solo or whatever. You're pretty much not invading at level 1, but you know, that time between like, you know, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, they're just gonna be worth a little bit more. Obviously, though, given the fact that this scales down, like it is probably gonna make absolutely no difference in reality. Assault. You can now reroll twice in Assault. This is a really cool change, I think. It just gives people a little bit more control over their gods. You know, not only can you get someone that you enjoy a little bit more in Assault more frequently, but it also allows you to fix some of the absolutely terrible team comps that you sometimes get in Assault with, like, no tanks or single damage type or, like, something like that. Reroll and trading time has also been increased by 15 seconds. There's also some small adjustments to the tier 1 towers in Assault as well. They have increased the protections but decreased the health, so they should roughly remain the same. Increased the power of them a little bit, and they've added 50% damage mitigation that falls off because they have added bastions to the tier 1 towers now. So each bastion that you destroy is going to remove 25% of that mid, so once you get them both down, the tower is going to be essentially the same as before. They have also staggered the health orb initial spawns as well, so the center orb now spawns at 1 minute like it always had done, but the side lane orb now spawns at 2:30. And you also get a temporary movement speed buff when leaving Fountain, depending on how many towers are alive, and if your Phoenix is down, you no longer gain this buff entirely. Dual bans, all gods that were currently banned are now unbanned, and this is the new ban list. You can pause the video or check the notes in the description below if you want to have a full read of the dual bans. I don't personally really care. Moving into general item balance, baubles, they have increased the cost from 2450 to 2900. God damn. Justified in my opinion. This item was like ridiculously overpowered in its state. Like pretty much everyone was building this. There was almost no reason not to build it if you were going to go 40% cooldown in your build anyway, which a lot of gods do. Especially from jungle and solo, but even a lot of mid laners were finding ways to fit this in their build, even some supports as well. So like, yeah, this item 100% is justified to get such a cost increase. It absolutely should be a luxury item, and 2450 was not a luxury price. 2900 makes sense in my opinion. Will it kill off the item? Probably not. Like, it is extremely expensive now, and you are paying a lot to get it. You know, that's now the new downside of the item, I guess. You know, you're not losing any stats, but you are paying 2900 for an item that has absolutely piss poor stats on the actual item itself. So I guess that's the downside to it now. It's going to make your power curve a lot weaker, but obviously in the late game, it doesn't really change much. For Conduit Gem, they have nerfed the minion damage down a little bit. They say this is mostly because of Guardian Soul Laners. The problem is Guardian Soul Laners need to build this item. I don't think it's necessarily that it's super overpowered for Guardians in the solo lane. Yes, we have seen Guardians start coming up in the meta a lot in solo, but I honestly don't think it's that bad. Guardians really haven't had their time to shine in the solo lane for a while. I'm kind of fine if Conduit Gem allows them to do that. Their wave clear just sucks so much ass that like they kind of need this item, so I feel like nerfing this down is just going to push Guardians back out immediately, and it's just going to be a warrior fest again. Me personally, I'm fine with that. I enjoy playing warriors a lot more than I play Guardians in solo, but I think it's fine to allow them to be viable. I'm not sure if I like this change, really. Also, doesn't this do like 2 yellow numbers to minions and 1 to gods? Couldn't they have just made it so it only does 1 yellow number to minions now instead? And instead of doing like 2 times 1, it just does 2? I don't know. I feel like it's probably a better way to word that. Pele, they have decreased the damage on Eruption just by a little bit. And they say the reason for this is that they are going to be adjusting Pele for Eruption a little bit further down the patch notes. Items. We have a bunch of new items coming in this patch, which is really exciting. They have some really cool effects, in my opinion. I've had a little look at them already, so let's go over them. So first up, we have Stormseeker, a new bow. Builds off of Hunter's Bow, 1900 gold. What the... That is ridiculously cheap. That's like almost tier 2 bridge item level of cheap, and they don't exist anymore. The base stats on it are pretty horrendous though, 15 power and 20% attack speed, but passive, when you hit an enemy god with a basic attack, you gain a permanent stacking attack speed buff. Each stack grants 0.15% attack speed for a max of 999 stacks. So as we've seen, high-res are getting more and more open to giving us infinite stacking in the game with like the Surta changes and the Charon changes and stuff like that, so I'm really excited to see this. And like, this scales up ridiculously fast. The thing is, it's only on gods. Like, you can't just farm this off of minions or jungle camps, but like, if you are hitting gods a lot, this scales up ridiculously fast. Like, what, you need 7 autos-ish to get 1% attack speed from this. So what, to get like 20% attack speed, you need 140 autos. Okay, now, is my math right on that? 7 to get 1%, to get 20%. Yeah, 140. Yeah, I think my math's right on that, unless I'm absolutely stupid. Yeah, okay, now that is actually quite slow. Thinking about it, 140 autos to get 20% attack speed. That's not really ideal. I'm going to call it now. I think this item's going to be bad. That's my prediction for this item. The only saving grace is that it's very cheap, so you can get it online super early. And like the base stats aren't great, but for the cost, they're not the worst in the world, I suppose. And then of course you're slowly going to get more attack speed. The problem is you don't want to rush this because like you're really not going to stack it when you're just in the laning phase. You know, most of your time is going to be spent farming. Yes, you'll be boxing the enemy ADC a little bit, but like you're not really going to be farming a ton of stacks in the laning phase. If this had an effect where like you gained 0.01 for hitting a minion or something like that, I think this would be a much better item because then you could actually rush it in the laning phase and start getting the stacks online early. But the fact that you have to hit gods with it, it's really bad as a rush because you don't really want to be like spamming trying to hit gods in the early game. You want to be farming, and by the time you get to late game, you're just kind of filling a slot with something that's absolute trash and it'd take way too long to stack up. So I think this item's gonna be bad, but it could be hilarious. I'm definitely gonna try it out. You know, it's gonna be funny for some hilarious builds. Maybe even it doesn't see play in ADC but does in solo, because solo you actually are going to be boxing people in the laning phase a lot. You know, maybe you go this on something like an Erlang because he has such a fast attack chain. You can stack this up super quickly. Dude, that just convinced myself. That's a build I'm definitely trying as soon as this drops. Erlang with this and like Silver Branch or something, that could be hilarious. But yeah, it's a really cool item. I love the design. I just don't think it's going to be that great, at least in ADC. Maybe it has some tiny potential in solo because you can box a lot easier in the early game and get this stacked up. But of course, if you're rushing it in the early game laning phase for solo, you're not having any defense and stuff like that. So maybe you got like Berserker Shield into this. I'm not sure, but I think it's going to be bad. Equinox is a new katana that they've been adding. So Golden Blade has been removed from the game entirely, which is a very interesting change. Obviously, Smite items historically have never had 5 items on the same tree, so they had to remove something to put this on the katana tree. But like Golden Blade being gone is like so sad, dude. It's just gonna massively nerf the characters that want it. Like, of course you have the new passive Golden Shard, but it's not the same. Like, it's nowhere near as powerful an effect as Golden Blade. I feel like gods like Bakasura, Arachne, Kali are gonna like really suffer from this change. Mercury as well. But the actual item itself, 2200 gold, 25 power, 20% attack speed, 7% movement speed. Passive: when you hit an enemy with a basic attack from the front, you heal 2 + 1 health per level, doubled against gods. When you hit an enemy from the back, you deal an additional 15 + 3 physical damage per level. So this is almost like a sort of Berserker Shield style effect if you're hitting them from the front, and then if you're hitting them from behind, I guess it's sort of like a flat damage kin size kind of effect. Very hard to tell if this will be good. I think it would have to be put into practice. The heal is the most exciting part, I feel like. You're generally not basic attacking people from the back for the most part. You know, people are going to be turning to face you to hit their abilities. Most people don't spew abilities out of their ass towards the back of their character, so they're usually going to be facing you for the most part. So the heal is what you're going to be getting probably like 80% of the time. I guess minions, you could hit the minions for a little bit of extra damage if you like get behind the archers or something. Maybe you're a god in solo that like dashes through the wave. You get behind the archers like an armor or something, and you're hitting them from behind. But for the most part, the heal is what you're going to be looking at from this thing. Yeah, this would have to be tried out to see how strong the heal is. Like, you know, maybe it could be really good on like a Bologna solo. Maybe it just gives you absolute crap ton of sustain like old Berserker Shield did. We'd have to see on this item. It's pretty cool though. I do like the design. Arendite, they have decreased the cost by 100, increased the buff duration, and increased the passive damage. Wow. I am always saying Arendite is a better item than people think, especially since they added the straight up flat movement speed to it. I think this item's going to be really good now. Gem of Isolation, they've decreased the passive cooldown from 5 to 2.5 seconds. Dude, how long before they just give up and revert these changes, man? They were bad changes. They should just revert them. Frostbound Hammer goes from 5 to 3 as well. Yeah, I like to see it, but I would honestly like to just see the internal cooldown removed on these entirely. I think it was a bad change. Fighter's Mask, they have decreased the damage taken debuff per level from 0.25 to 0.1, and they have decreased the damage dealt buff from 6 to 5. So definitely a trade in the item's favor. Obviously, this is going down by, you know, more than half. It's like less than half of what it was before, and this is only going down by like 20%. So definitely a trade in favor of the item. Rangdas is still pretty troll. I think it'll probably remain pretty troll, but this is actually like a massive buff. Like, even at level 20, this is now only, what, a 2% damage taken increase? Dude, maybe Rangdas is good now. Like, that is such a massive buff to the item, dude. I'm going to be trying this for sure. Divine Barrier, they have increased the deploy range, reduced the cooldown, and then same thing for the upgrades, and also increased the basic attack damage buff. I haven't seen a single person use this item, outside of maybe like one time or directly on patch day. So I assume it's terrible. I've not even tried it myself, but the fact that people aren't building it either means it's too weird to use, or it means it's terrible, so I probably did need buffs. Vision Shard, they have increased the vision radius. I'm fine with this. Might make more people buy wards. Wing Shard, they have increased the movement speed a little bit. This is fine as well. Wing Shard was one of the lesser used shards. Moving on to gods. Spectral Projection for Izanami, they have increased the base slow from 18 to 20 and the slow per stack from 6 to 10. Oh, okay. I think this stacks 3 times, right? So that's going to be a 50% slow when you get this thing fully maxed out. That's kind of strong, dude. And they have also decreased the cooldown of a dash in the early game. It's going to be the same late game, but just going to help keep a little bit more safe in the laning phase. Yu Wang, they have halved the stack time on Dao. God damn, that is a big change. They have increased the burn damage per tick from Flames of the Phoenix in the late game, but same early game. And then Dao Cultivation, they have increased the projectile damage scaling and increased the AoE damage scaling as well. So these are just whatever little damage buffs and stuff, but this is pretty huge, dude, giving him more access to Dao more easily. Maui, they have increased his attack speed per level from 1.2 to 1.4. With Solar Swing, they have increased his stun duration, so it's 1.5 flat. Oh, goddamn. They've also decreased the mana cost to 60 at all ranks. This is a pretty big change. This is going to be incredible for like his level 2 fight, dude. Like just being at a stun for 1.5 seconds that early on in the game. That's going to be pretty important. Lance, they have decreased the max stat count on his passive from 60 to 40. They have increased the... okay, so basically I assume what this means is it remains the same. They don't say if it remains the same. Let me do some quick math. Yeah, this goes down by a third and these go up by a third. So the actual stats that he's giving in total are still the same. It's just going to be a little bit easier to stack up. Skilled Strikes, they have increased the shield damage by a little bit at basically all ranks, more so in the late game, and then Quick Turn, they have decreased the cooldown from 4 seconds to 2 seconds. This makes sense. Honestly, make it 1 second if you want, dude. Like, just give us more control over the horse. It's sometimes a little bit annoying when you don't have access to it. King Arthur. King Arthur may now proc basic attack items with his... What is this change, man? Like, you know I'm trying Death Soul Arthur as soon as this drops. This is hilarious. I love this. Will it be good or will it change the way you play Arthur? Probably not, because you're still going to want to go Bluestone. Are there any other basic attack items you could use? I mean, you could use mannequins, I guess. But, like, thing is, they're just AoE basic attacks. It's not like Yorm or anything. Like, if they allowed Yorm to do this, it would be, obviously, significantly more broken than it is with King Arthur. Like, King Arthur just has permanently AoE attacks, which, like, some characters have AoE attacks in their chain, or, like, abilities that give them AoE attacks, like Balloonus Bludgeon. So, this probably won't be, like, giga broken, I don't think, but it'll be a lot of fun to play with. Chang'e, they've increased the rabbit movement speed to 5x Chang'e's speed from 3.5. They have also increased the movement speed while dancing from 25 to 40. Wow, that's going to be noticeable. And then they have increased the damage taken debuff duration from 4 seconds to 5 seconds as well. So some pretty decent buffs to Chang'e there overall, especially their movement speed while dancing. That's going to be pretty huge. Some changes to Heim's 1. So he now spawns the sword 55 units in front of him no matter what, instead of being at a kind of place where you want it. And the sword landing time is now consistent no matter how far away the sword is spawned. On quick cast, the targeter will no longer automatically appear unless the ability is held. This is good. I always have problems with this on quick cast. And then no targeter at all on instant cast. Surtur, nice, dude, nice. I love this, dude. This is so cool. So they've increased the stacks from 200 to 999 on Surtur's 1. At this point, just let them go infinite, dude. Like, it's not going to matter, but it'd just be cooler to see, like, infinite stacks are possible with this. Maybe it's something in the game's code that, like, if someone actually got to that level of stacks, it would cause problems or something. So Surtur now gains 1 stack when hitting an enemy non-god, 2 stacks when killing an enemy non-god, 3 stacks when hitting an enemy god, and 5 stacks when killing an enemy god, but they have decreased the damage per stack from 5 to 1. Oh, so actually you can't go any higher in terms of damage. Theoretically, it is slightly lower by like 1 damage, because it's not quite 5 times 200. So technically the actual like damage cap for this ability hasn't changed at all, but by the looks of this, it's probably going to be easier to get stacks now. Oh, well, of course it's going to be easier to get stacks, but is it going to be easier to get more damage on it is the question. Probably need some playtesting to actually decide on this. So you need 5 stacks when you would normally get 1 before, because they're 5 times less valuable. On minions, it's actually a nerf, because you would normally get 1 stack, whereas now you're only going to get 3. You get 1 for hitting them and 2 for killing them. But on gods, it's technically buffed. You're going to get 8 instead of, like, I guess 5, sort of. 5 is 1, obviously, from the prior changes. So, like, you're going to get 8 instead of 5, essentially, but you're going to get 3 instead of 5 from minions. But it also makes it easier that you can get stacks just by hitting people. So if you want, you can, you know, instead of killing a minion with this, you actually get the same amount for just slapping the enemy god with it. So it probably will be overall slightly easier to stack. But yeah, this is going to need a lot of playtesting to decide if this is, like, actually stronger than it was before. Quality of life changes. Nuts Convergence can now cancel his ability while firing to put it on cooldown and refund any leftover ammo. Good change. I like that. Cupid's hearts now spawn closer together. Good change. Kabrakan's protection debuff, or protection buff, sorry, no longer wears off while he continues to take damage. Good change as well. Perfectly fine with this. Hercules, we saw a little bit of this teased on Twitter before the patch. The camera is now unlocked while casting his 2. But we've seen from these changes, like with Ymir, for example, you can't keep aiming it. As soon as you press it, the aim locks in, but your camera can still move, so you can, like, turn yourself ready for driving strike or whatever. But with Excavate, you can re-aim it. So you can re-aim it during the pre-fire state, and also his camera is unlocked as well. And finally, Achilles on quick cast the target tool. Yes, thank God, dude. This is so annoying on Achilles. This is actually so annoying. I don't know how many of you play on quick cast. I know instant cast is more popular, but it's so annoying for that to constantly happen on quick cast. And also, it will no longer automatically appear on instant cast either, which is probably good for instant cast users as well. This ability was so finicky to get to work on quick cast sometimes. I'm really glad this has been changed. They're also doing an ability timing pass to better match the animation. We saw a bunch of this in the last patch, and they're basically going to be doing this again. I'm not going to read all of these out. Full notes will be in the description, and I'll slowly scroll down here if you want to have a look at like what's been changed. Just a bunch of abilities here that are like going to be changed so that their animation better matches their firing time and stuff like that. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. Some of the ones that they made of these before were noticeable, and this is like so many that they've done here, so that should hopefully just make the game feel a lot better. Plenty of gods here. Hopefully we'll just have a little bit better like timing pass on their abilities. But yeah, that is it for patch 11.4. Some really cool changes. We got 2 new items. The ADC one looks very interesting, or the attack speed one looks very interesting. The katana is like whatever. It could be hilarious for some solo laners, we'll see. Infinite stacking on Surtur is funny as well. Rangda's change is probably pretty hilarious. I'll definitely be trying that one out. Arendite got buffed for some reason. Bauble nerfed, very important, obviously, as well. And then just some cool Conquest changes. You know, we're going to be getting BDK and Conquest. They've adjusted a few things as well there. Some of the camps and stuff. And then some cool assault changes as well. Yeah, overall, really good patch. I'm pretty happy with everything that they put out here. Even the skins. The skins look pretty cool, especially this one. But yeah, what do you guys think? Are you excited for these changes? Let me know down below, and I will catch you guys in another one later on. Have a great day. And peace out, you nerds.